Okay,
So it's good for washing shit.
Oh.
Stuff. I did not swear on camera.
It's good for washing stuff. When I first moved in, what I did was I baked a bunch of pies, apple pies, and I passed out everyone's slices. And I just kept doing that until they really liked me, so...
Good advice.
Yeah.
See, I'm planning that with bread.
Yes, Emily makes awesome rolls too.
To help me with my social links.
But you know, I never turned down some.
It's my first time living alone, so that's super exciting. But it's also kind of lonely because we're not allowed pets here, and I had to leave my cat. So her name is Lulu. She's very cute. But I'm independent. I'm working. I have a job. I actually have 2 jobs right now. But it's a lot more than I was doing a couple of years ago because I couldn't leave my house. So.
Well, you better, because I'm going soon.
No, all she does is call me out.
Living here, I hope to get even more independent. I go to the grocery store. Me and Amy go to the grocery store together usually, but I want to save up money because I couldn't. It's hard to do that when you're not working because you don't actually get any money. So I'm gonna work, and I want to eventually move into a bigger place where I'm allowed cats. That's a very important point. But I want to be independent. I don't want to rely on my mom to do stuff. I don't want to have to get someone to come with me when I go to the doctor or to the store. I just want to do it myself and not die while doing it.
I'll just, for example, this pose was more of her just reaching. So
I don't think that's humanly possible. Okay. I won't talk anymore.
I don't mean that way. Obviously, there's ways that you can find it. This year, there are a number of people leaving, and it's going to be very difficult because we've sort of become a huge family here at Affirmative House. And while it's always exciting to have new people come in, it's going to be very upsetting and a huge change around here.
Yeah, this is now extending this out, giving us.
I would love to see more of these places around, just because not only does it give us a home, but it helps build confidence and independence, something that we might not have if these places didn't exist. For me, I definitely probably wouldn't have left my parents at this time. So being here is an amazing opportunity, and I would love to see other people have that opportunity as well.
So hello, my name is Amey Farrell, and I've been a tenant at Affirmative House since July 2015. And I've also completed the 12-week Way to Work program through Pet Stuff on the Go. I've been battling with my mental health for a bit over 10 years now, and it has only been in the past few years that my life has taken a big leap forward. Still, if you told me 2 years ago that I'd be up here talking to all of you, I wouldn't believe it because there's no way I could do that. Even though it had always been a big dream of mine to speak in public. But when you live with a mental illness, it's really easy to feel like the real you is being suffocated, and it's even easier to lose confidence in yourself. When I was around 15 years old, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, major depressive disorder, and a social phobia. Over the course of my teen years, I was juggled through several therapists, attended a ton of group therapy sessions, but I still didn't seem to be making any progress. My anxiety was so bad that I believed my peers at school were constantly talking about me behind my back. So eventually I stopped speaking, I stopped socializing, I started having several severe panic attacks a day. I started self-harming, I dropped out of school, and eventually I fell into a very dark place. I created a bubble and my world was confined within it. I didn't like to leave my bedroom, and usually only did when I had to do things like eat, shower, or other unavoidable things. I laid in bed all day and stared at my computer screen. In 2010, I watched as my twin brother walked across the gymnasium, gave an amazing valedictorian speech, and graduated without me. That day was my wake-up call. I realized that life was precious and I wanted to fight. I no longer wanted to sit by and watch as the world passed me. I tried going back to school, but I had trouble finding the support I needed, so I dropped out of school for a second time. But I wasn't ready to give up just yet. I met my current mental health nurse, Carol, and started meeting with Lake City. I started taking classes twice a week, and in June 2013, I obtained my GED. Over the next 2 years, I was given some awesome opportunities. I met with MetroWorks and took a youth program that helped me land my first job at Paws Wellness Center. The job was temporary, but I learned a lot, and the ladies there were amazing. After that, I landed another temp job working at the Middle and Lower Musquodoboit Pastoral Charge for a few months. My boss, Dr. Reverend Linda Yates, inspired me to be, well, me. But there is still something holding me back. I was still living with my parents in Myers Grant. And if you don't know where Myers Grant is, just picture the middle of nowhere and you pretty much got it. So I didn't drive and no buses ran through our area. So I knew eventually I would have to move. Then one day in June of 2015, I received a phone call from Carol. She told me that there was an apartment available at Affirmative House. And if I was interested, I needed to meet one of the ladies right away. So I agreed. I was excited, but I didn't think I'd get it. A few days later, I met with Liz Cleary. She interviewed me and showed me around the building. It was beautiful and so clean. Admittedly, in my head, I had been picturing someplace that was like run down or something, but it was just amazing. And I couldn't believe it when she told me that Affirmative Host would love to have me live there. But of course, I was very overwhelmed, and the thought of having to leave my family in Myers Grant made me cry. Thankfully, Liz was very understanding, and she comforted me. But she told me I needed to be quick and let her know ASAP if I wanted the place. So my mom took me shopping afterwards, and during what might have been the biggest leap forward I have ever taken, I called Liz and told her I wanted to move in. I cried a lot during my first night staying at my place, but I had this weird mix of excitement and anxiety. I missed my parents, who were two of my best friends. I remember one day I spoke to the superintendent, Nigel, who's right there, who told me that things would eventually get easier. And pretty soon, I would get homesick when I was away from Affirmative House. He also told me that the other tenants were super friendly and helpful, that Affirmative Host was like a huge family and I could knock on anyone's door if I had any problems. And for perhaps the first time in his life, Nigel was right. Just kidding, man. Love you. Eventually, my trips to my parents' place were cut short because I missed my apartment and my friends. I found it super easy to talk to the other tenants. After all, we were all in the same boat. Every month, we had tenant meetings and discussed any issues we were having. Liz and Lori are amazing, and to this day, they make sure everything is running smoothly. I feel so blessed to have both of these ladies in my life. Living on my own gave me the independence I had always longed for but never thought I could have. Little things like making myself supper or cleaning the apartment became victories for me. I was gaining confidence in myself, and perhaps most importantly, I actually liked me. But out in the workforce, I was still having trouble finding work, especially since most administrative assistant jobs were temp jobs, and it seemed like every time I adjusted to a new job, it was over with and I had to move on. I began to fall back into my depressive state after I struggled to find a steady job. Lori noticed that I was struggling and suggested I attend the 12-week Way to Work program at Pet Stuff on the Go. I was reluctant at first because I found, as she said, I didn't have a lot of energy, and it was difficult for me to work a full day without being absolutely exhausted. But she assured me that she would help me build my stamina and we would gradually add hours onto my shifts and make the transition easier for me. Going to work at Pet Stuff, I met with two amazing ladies, Denise and Elisa, who taught me new skills and worked with me to overcome any workplace challenges I ran into. They were patient but stern with me if they knew I could do better. And Lori was right. I did start to build my stamina as my work days grew longer, and I developed a more outgoing, positive look on life. As time went on, I was able to train new participants of the 12-week program, and Lori gave me the opportunity to facilitate 3 presentations to my peers. They were on leisurely wellness, stress management, and the importance of recycling. I watched with pride as my coworkers moved into the workforce and secured employment. This May, I applied for a position at Build-A-Bear Workshop. I was called into a group interview, and somehow I managed to make a good impression, because after a second interview, I was offered the job, and my first day was June 12th. The ladies at Build-A-Bear have been so kind and accepting and welcomed me with open arms. I love working there. Landing a job has made an amazing difference. I have never been happier, and I'm so proud of myself. Living and working with Affirmative Ventures has completely changed my life. In a world where a lot of people have given up on helping people who live with mental illnesses, it completely changes things when we have people who not only believe in us, but take the time to help us build confidence, make friendships, help us develop work skills, give us a place to call home, and most importantly, give us hope. Because that's what Affirmative Ventures has given me, and I cannot thank you enough.